Turn has arrived.
Yeah.
And yeah, wow, what am I bringing? I think Reed already knows, Diego already knows. I've mentioned this before. Couldn't stop playing it. Dungeon crawler, roguelite, 2 words, deep dungeon for the Game Boy. Beautiful.
Ooh.
I don't know if you guys have heard of it. It was
Mm.
GB Compo 2021, so not super recent. Made by Lazy Dev, I think they're called. Um, and it's it's simple. Say it looks really simple, but there's a lot of stuff going on. It's name your own price on itch.io. Music by Mr. V, VHVS, which is not VHS. Art by Dan Enders and Mac Noodlor. I can actually read these, I think, probably correctly. Alexander Makarov. Um, and it was made using GB Studio 2.5. And yeah, the latest version is from September 21. That's on itch.io. Um, interesting game. I didn't expect much of it. I tried it. I started to understand myself more as a human being. I think I really like these dungeon crawlers and roguelites more and more. And as I happened to stumble upon this game, I really thought, okay, this is a really good usage of the GB Studio for me. And I played this on the Analog Pocket, and I had a great experience. That's it. That's my review. And
Nice.
no, it's
Great
really
game.
good.
Yes.
Like it's sort of a. It reminds me a bit of Dungeons and Dragons, and it's turn based. It's a dungeon crawler, so you have to go deeper in the dungeon, and that's another game, by the way. But it's really simple. It has some shortcomings. So the first thing I'm going to say is that this game is not perfect at all. It's it has some shortcomings, but I still find it so enjoyable that I actually finished it in
Oh
bed
wow,
while my
a rare
partner was
occasion
sleeping.
where Andy finishes a game.
Yes. Um, so what is this game? You have to create yourself a team of 3 characters, even if you're only one player. Obviously, you're on your Game Boy, and you can choose different classes: fighter, thief, cleric, and wizard. And then you can choose also the gender, and you have different stats as you would have in Dungeons and Dragons. And you can re-roll those stats depending on the level of difficulty that you set the game at. So if you set it easy, I think you can re-roll 5 times or 4 times, and then as you make it harder, you re-roll less and less times until you get the perfect stats. I did that, and I ended up with a fighter that had less HP, about 7, compared to a cleric that was insanely stoic and very very robust person that had probably 23 to start off, something ridiculous. So you can end up with all sorts of things. The beauty of this game is that there's a lot to uncover. So you start off in a camp, and where you can sleep and regain all your abilities that you lose in a bit of like a D&D, or Baldur's Gate, when you go to sleep and you have used up all your spells, and then you have them back again, you have them restored. So you start up with this. Sorry, you start up in the camp. Then you can head to the dungeon and towards town. There's 3 locations, only these 3 locations, and they're just represented like a box. It's like a little box, and you can just choose where you want to go. So you go to the dungeon and you start this dungeon crawl. And let's go this way. So you start off on the first floor. You have experience levels. So as you start fighting the first monsters, and I'll explain in a moment how that happens, you start gaining this experience. And as you progress experience, as you'd expect, you become stronger and you have more stats that change and improve and get bonus points, as you would in a Dungeons and Dragons fashion, which is, I think, really, really nice. So how do the controls work? It's like a turn-based. If you remember, like now we always reference Pure Power, but also Roguecraft and many others. So you take a turn, and then the enemy takes a turn. So even when you're moving through the dungeon levels, then you press, I don't know, the direction, and then the enemy, wherever they are, they take their turn, even if you don't see them. And then you keep going towards, trying to explore, find the exit. And then you'll obviously cross paths with some of these enemies that really just want to fight you. So they'll find every way to try and catch you. And the fight is not typically what you'd expect by just pushing against the enemy, like Pio Pow style, for example, or Roguecraft for that respect. But the enemy or yourself overlap on the tile, and then the encounter starts. And then the game changes, changes the visuals. So it's not top down anymore with little people, and you get a breakdown of your characters on the left, and then the enemies on the right. There can be up to 3 enemies on the right, and obviously your team of 3 on the left. And then, let's say, in an order, it does never change. You attack, and then they attack. Well, I say that you attack, and they attack. You can perform your actions, and they perform their actions.
So like a JRPG, like a turn-based RPG.
Yeah. That's right. Which I'm learning that I like. So that's quite fun. And then, it's just, I never expected this to have so much depth in some respect. So, when you start off with, it's just, attack or use an item, or if you're, for example, a fighter. If you're a cleric, you have a spell, or you have an attack, or you use an item. If you're a wizard, you have attack and spell. And then initially, if you're a spellcaster, you don't have many spells. You have one. For example, I think the cleric has cure wounds and cause wounds. Maybe not both at the beginning. I don't remember, but it doesn't make much of a difference. But you've got limited spells, and the wizard as well has very few spells. The fighter obviously has only attack. So once the encounter is over and it's resolved by you saying attack, and then you choose the enemy who you want to attack on your right, and then you have RNG. That is very frustrating sometimes, because a lot of times you get missed, and then you just keep pressing. It gets missed, and you're like, my God, do they ever catch on? But
You're
then
probably using the wrong attack on the wrong enemy, maybe.
Yeah, probably that, but I didn't notice that. But then you get, as you progress with your experience, you get attack bonuses and other bonuses that enhance the capability of you landing a stroke, landing a hit. The spells on a different note, they do always land. So if you throw a fireball with a wizard, it will always go to the target, and I've never missed any of those. So I don't think it works in the same way. But when you attack and you start off empty-handed, I think with the wizard and the cleric, you punch really. You cause a little damage. I think the fighter's got a sword, if I recall correctly. But
Had to buy it.
you what?
Yeah.
What?
Sorry, I'm just playing the game right now as you speak. I had to buy the sword. It didn't have it.
Okay.
at the-
So it didn't.
Oh, there's a shop.
Yeah, there's a shop. That's the best.
That's why you like this game.
Yes. So you start off empty-handed. Then that was it. But I think I don't remember, because probably you have a little bit of money to begin with, and I think I bought a sword immediately. So I think that was the case. So anyways, once you've done, either you die or you win. So if one of your members of your party dies and you have no resurrect items, he's gone, and then that's the end. You have to continue with 2. And if all of your party members die, then game over. Easy as that. Now, there's a lot more complexity. So as you progress down the floors of the dungeon, then once you reach the 10th floor, you can go out of the dungeon and you find a little portal. And that takes you back to the camp. There, it takes you outside the dungeon, sorry. And then there you can decide where you want to go. If you want to go to the camp and sleep, if you want to go to the town, or if you want to go to the dungeon where you already are. That's only 3 locations, but you can still do that. So usually what I ended up doing was going back to town to restore the spells, especially a Cure of Wounds was very useful. And then I would go to town and see if I could buy any equipment. So you can buy equipment, you can buy items, and you can buy weapons. 3 things you can buy. And they're all different vendors. The dialogue options for the vendors are not very, how do you say, very creative or very varied, but it doesn't really matter. And when you reach one of these vendors, you actually, you go in and you see, for example, the weapons or the armor or the items, and you don't know what they do. And there are some descriptions, but very, very small. But for example, for the weapons, it just says, I don't know, Warhammer or broadsword, and there's a price, and that's it. So you have no idea, and this is one of the shortcomings, is you have no idea how much damage they do, what other characteristics they've got, or anything. So in order to know that, you have to buy it, equip it, and then look.
Yeah, but that's part of experimentation.
A lot
that's
of
part of the game.
Save state. Yes, because that's how to do it. I didn't really understand, is the Warhammer better than the broadsword that I've got or not? I bought the broadsword at the beginning. I saw it does a 1d10, which is one dice with 10 faces damage, but the Warhammer, it doesn't say. So I had to buy it, equip it, and then it says, okay, it does 1d8. So, okay, the Warhammer is not. So I sold it, or I reloaded the state. But yeah, that I think should have been a bit better in terms of giving you a bit more details of what they does. Same goes for the armor. It doesn't really tell you. It just says scale mail or leather armor or studded leather armor, and then you have to buy it to understand what happens. And also the same goes for the items. The item says torch. What does the torch do? I don't know. What bomb, rope, and they, you don't know what do they do. There's elixirs, there's potions, and they do a lot of different things. But once you have them in your inventory and you hover over them, Let's say you go over them with your with an indicator, basically, when you select them. So you slowly end up upgrading your team members, and as they become more powerful, they kill more people, more monsters, and then they gain more experience, and then they switch level, which also is not very clearly displayed. In order to do that, you have to access another screen by pressing, I think it's select on the right, and then you can see the party members, the equipment, and the items and the weapons, and you can move all these things around, and you can re-equip, remove items. What a normal sort of D&D. You can remove things from people and equip them to others, etc. Try to find the best loadout possible for these for your party members. You can also buy keys, and you can find chests in the dungeon and money. And let's say that's the only place. So when you open some chests, for example, that's the only place you can find special items. So, for example, war bracers, or there's like a little a crystal ball, they say, or blue ball, I don't remember, but like a sphere that will restore a mana point at the end of each combat, which is really, really useful. And all these items aid you in your combat, and they give you a lot of bonuses, and you can equip up to 2 slots. Let's say for I don't know, they just say there's not really like a name of where these things are stored, but you have 2 slots and another 2 slots at the bottom on the right hand side, and then you have all the equipment. So for example, you have your armor, etc., and your helmet, I don't know, and then you have your sword, and then you have all these other items on the right hand side. So you can equip quite a few things, and I found that really compelling, and I really like that sort of aspect. It's unfortunate again that you don't see what the items do in total, and there is no screen where you see your stats overall to see what. I mean, there is a screen that shows you stats overall, but I don't. If I remember correctly, you don't see all your chances and all your how much is the chance for you to land a blow or stuff like that. But there's a screen where you can go in and see all your party members and how much strength and dexterity, but you have to go separately. They're not displayed on the screen, let's say. Okay, so have any questions?
I see there's a manual also.
Oh yes, yes, the manual is very big.
I would expect all this information to be in the manual, maybe.
But I don't read the manual.
You should.
I know, you're right.
I think it's possible to just learn by doing in this game.
No, in the manual, equipment, broadsword, D10, buy 54 coins, sell 27. What did you say? A studded leather, defense 14, skill mail, defense 15.
Okay, you made a point. I understand.
It's all in the manual.
But yeah, as I said, I didn't read the manual. I just went in and that was
just figured out by playing, which is also cool.
Well, let's say, yeah, probably if I had read the manual, it'd be better. But imagine the most amazing time I would have had if I had read the manual, even better. So
they also say, for example, monsters, spirits can be hard to hit with attacks, for example.
Yeah.
And undead are walking skeletons and are immune to diseases. So there's a lot of information in the manual to make it easier, make yourself easier. But what's the goal of the game?
To reach the end of the dungeon.
But what's the end? Because you say it's like...
I won't spoil it, but let's say every 10 floors you reach this portal that takes you back, so it's like a checkpoint. Really. Okay, so there's 30 floors, I'll say that. Okay, and then it's game over. But I'm not gonna spoil what the last thing is. You have to find it out by yourself.
No, okay. So, but does it also save on the cartridge when you reach that 10th floor?
Good question. I don't know, because I cheated.
You use save state.
No, I didn't cheat really, but I used save state when I had to put it to sleep, and then when I just went in, I just reloaded it because so I don't really know if it's saved at the checkpoint. I'd assume it would, but I didn't try it because I was playing on the analog pocket. I was going to bed, and then they said, "Oh, can you turn that off? Can you turn it off?" I couldn't, I didn't know. I just, okay, turn it off. Yeah. So yeah, that's the game in a nutshell. And you're right. There's a lot of different enemies. And I found out, as you just said, the hard way, that when I found a ghost, oh my God, missed. I was like, my goodness me. The only thing that would kill them would be a spell, or really, when I struck them with a warrior that once, it would take a big chunk of them off. But in order to strike them, to hit them, it was so hard. I got frustrated. But yeah, if I had learned a bit more about it with a manual, it would have helped. You're right.
Well, good advice for the listener who wants to play this game.
Yeah, do read the manual before, and you will not find it as bad as I thought. But no, it's good. It's a good game. I really enjoy it. Even without the manual, I found it so good. There's more. There's intelligence. I'm finding out now reading the manual. Oh, Diego is showing me that you can save. So there you go. I never saved.
At the campfire.
You can save at the campfire. So there you go.
Nice.
Great.
It looks like a super simplistic game, but it's more complex than it seems.
Yes. So you have all these items. You have, as you can see in the manual, potion, elixir, panacea, key, rope, torch, bomb, holy symbol. Okay, here's another thing that I will probably find out on the manual. I had the rope. I had these chasms. So the rope says cross small chasms. So every chasm I would find, I would try and use the rope. And it just said to me, can't be used right now, can't be used right now, can't be used right now. So I thought, well, how the hell do you use this blinking rope? I never used it.
Yeah, I just figured out how, but I still died.
Anyway, it seems like a fun game because...
things could have been improved, because I think you might have been looking at the inventory, and then it kept saying that you can't use it. But then when you are in front of a chasm, then if you have a rope, then you can use it from there.
From the inventory. I tried that. I didn't.
Right. Not from the inventory list, but from the main view, I think it said. But then for some reason I don't know what I did exactly, but I'm not playing it on the target platform now. I'm just testing it out on my phone because there's an
live review.
There's an HTML version, so it actually runs fine on my phone.
Yeah, that's part of GB Studio. I think you can also export it to HTML5.
Yes. So it should be exactly the same, right? There was something a little weird because I used the rope. I went on the other side. Then I think I just opened up my inventory, and when I went back, I was on the previous side of the chasm.
Yes, it's a feature of GB Studio. I mean, a limitation of GB Studio, yes.
It's a feature,
but had the same problem.
I thought, now I use the rope so I can cross the chasm. So I crossed it again and I fell and the whole party died.
Yeah,
exactly. All right,
that's,
so that's that you learned, yeah.
A familiar problem.
Well, I didn't know it was a feature,
but if it sounds like a good game to just explore and find out the mechanics and just play around with and just figure it out. I think that's a part of the cool thing of rogue kind of games, that you have to sort of, everything is mysterious and you have to figure everything out yourself. I think that's part of a rogue experience. But are the dungeons random, or
no?
They're like designed.
Well, I restarted twice. I didn't notice. To be honest, you might be right. I'm just thinking now, because my understanding was they were not random at all. I think I restarted the game twice. So I remade it completely from scratch. And if I recall correctly, it was not randomly generated. I might be wrong, but
you didn't see much differences.
Not that I can recall. Interesting that I have the hard memory that it's not, but I'm now in half a century, so I might be wrong, and that's the thing. I can say anything on this podcast. I'm a senior member of, so it doesn't matter now. I can say anything.
Anyway, what counts? It's fun.
Yeah.
Does it have any music?
Yeah, it does have music. But it's one tune and it repeats over and over. So it does get sometimes a bit. I think it changes a bit in the boss fights, and that's it. And then it's the same tune, and it's good though. It's not a bad tune. It's good. It's just like after a while it gets a bit old. That's all. But it's normal, isn't it? That didn't detract from my experience. In fact, this is one of the best games I've played on the Game Boy. Really, really nice. There's a lot of stuff as well, like for example, certain items can be equipped by some members of the party and some others can't. Same goes for the equipment. Same goes for the armor. And then there's another thing, that the huge and different amounts of spells that you end up having is incredible. There's so many. There's Bane, there's Bless, there's Raise Dead, which I didn't even try because I didn't need to. There was Cure Disease, Cure Wounds. This is only the cleric spells. The wizard spells has loads: Sleep, Fireball, Earthquake, Shield, Magic Missile. And also there's more, which is one of the spells that I really liked was Reveal Secrets. So if you're on a floor and you cast Reveal Secrets, then if your character passes near something that has a secret, it will give you a couple of exclamation marks. And then if you face that direction and press action, it will say, "Oh, a fake wall," and it will reveal, or a fake library or whatnot, and it will reveal like a hidden path. And I think that was amazing. It's really, really nice. So many little details that are done.
Nice. It looks, there's not really animations for the characters, which is it looks a bit basic, but
yeah, it does.
When you watch more of. I have some footage in front of me. There's still a lot into this game. Yeah. And so it's again a game which is more than it seems.
Exactly.
Start.
There's other things. Yeah, there's also like spike pits and there's spider webs across your path, and also a great variety of monsters. There's undead, as you said, the spirits, the ghosts, the trolls, the orcs, the wisps. There's wraith. There's so many different enemies, and then also when you get to the monster, it's really rewarding. Like it's not like an endless loop. You find some sort of progression there because you reach something and you have to defeat the monster, and you think, oh my god, this monster is going to obliterate me. But then with the help of your spells and everything, you manage to defeat it, and it's so rewarding. And I really liked it. I really, really, really liked this game. Hence why I finished it. And I actually was a bit disappointed when it was finished because I thought, I really wanted that to go on even further.
And just restart with a different set of characters.
Well, Diego just told me that it is probably randomly generated, which I didn't remember, but...
Well, at least the dungeon looks different on my second try, so...
I guess so. Maybe you're right. I think probably I was unlucky, but I did restart twice, and I thought, it's the same, and maybe it's just my memory. So there you go, randomly generated. But again, very good. Now, this game is not, as I said, it's not spring chicken. It's 2021, and they're not updating it anymore. It's unfortunate, really unfortunate. But if you go on itch.io, there's a lot of people say, this game's really good. This game's really good. Are you going to do this? Are you going to do it? But there's no plans to make, it doesn't seem there are any plans to make a sequel or let's say at least improve this version, because this is like a diamond in the rough. It's still good, but it could be, wow, this game could be so cool if they added even more details and mechanics and a bit more in-game explanation so one doesn't have to read the manual. But yeah, I think overall this is a great recommendation from me, and I'm not sure game of the year, but it goes close for me because I really, really enjoy this. It's one of the few that I could not put down, together with Good Boy Galaxy, with Asta Bros. One of those really, really nice games and well thought out, even if the execution is not perfect. So yeah,
every game has to be perfect to be good.
Sorry?
Not every game has to be perfect to be good.
No.
I actually like games which aren't perfect. I think perfect games are a bit boring. This should be like rough edges in games.
I would like it to be a bit more polished, to be honest, but I can't complain. I mean, that's the only thing I have to complain about. It's just a bit of polish. But what can you do? I mean, made for a compo. Good lord. Well, that's it. My review was pretty quick. I could go more into depth into the details, but I think we're already 2 hours in. So I might be wrong even on that, but it's gone 9 o'clock. Yeah, so very good.
Shall I do a recap of all the games?
Unless Diego, do you have anything to add?
No, but I can just say I'm already into this game of yours. It's cool, and it's kind of thing, you can play for a little bit on like in bed or something like that. It's very cool. It's simple, but it has this multiple levels of depth in the items, in the spells that you can use. And also I'm just literally playing my second dungeon, and it actually looks pretty different from the first. It has traps. I found traps, and I found libraries, and every library tells you something about the books that it has. And then one of them was a false wall, and I actually got into another room. That's pretty cool.
Nice.
It's a tiny game.
It sounds a bit like my my nomination for the game club. So if someone wants to play a similar game, vote on that game.
But Okay.
Anyway, let's recap.
You recap, yes.
Jago brought Gravity Boy for the Commodore Plus 4? What?
How do you not know this? You're too young, my God.
I don't know. Some kind of Commodore. I brought Kero Kero Cowboy for the Game Boy.